Yeah, Reggie let me hold the trophy after.
Holy
Like
shit.
there's that photo of me holding the championship trophy. So like if you zoom in on that and look at who's taking the photo, it's Reggie Jackson.
Reggie took the photo for you?
Yeah.
Welcome to At the Buzzer, the official NBA podcast on ClutchPoints, streaming on every platform where you watch ball. I got my guy Dennis, and joining us today, the longest tenured beat reporter for the Los Angeles Clippers. He's been a journalist for over 10 years, a reporter for the better part of that decade. He's covered the NBA Finals, shared champagne with champions, broke news on ESPN. The guy got me kicked out of Vegas one time in a club. Tomer Azarly, welcome to At the Buzzer.
Thank you. I'm not sure how much of all that was accurate, but we'll run with it. Yeah,
I saw the
you.
pics. I saw it on Instagram. He did it all.
We have proof. We have the proof.
You've tweeted nearly 80,000 times.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
There's a good 10,000 of those probably about dogs or something. At least 10,000.
That's fine.
It's like retweeting dog rage or something.
You also run the ClutchPoints Twitter. So you've tweeted, upwards of 100,000 times.
Way too many times.
Right?
Way too many.
Of all those tweets, and in this decade of being an NBA reporter, what is the biggest lesson you learned or the piece of advice that you've received about tweeting and being a reporter on NBA Twitter?
I think context really matters. Context, like what context something is said. There's different situations where it's very easy to clip out a certain quote from a line and just throw it up on social media. Like, for example, I think a lot of people probably who've seen my stuff know about the Draymond thing.
Yeah.
Where I think it was after game 2 of the finals in Golden State. The reporter asked when you had Kevin Durant, the offense looked like this. Now that you don't have him, how do you generate something like that? How do you generate more points or a better flowing offense? And I remember on social media, all that you ever saw was just Draymond's answer, saying, "Well, when we had Kevin Durant, this is," and everyone was like, "Well, why are you bringing up Kevin Durant? Why are you talking about Kevin? You still thinking about Kevin? What are you thinking about Kevin?" And I remember listening to it live, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so he's asked about Kevin. That's why I mentioned Kevin." And then everyone on social media is like, "This guy's still thinking about Kevin, haha." And I was like, "We can just do that? Like it was like the Bleacher Report is doing that." And I was like, we can just create our own, in a sense, kind of fake headline.
Yeah.
You know, Draymond name drops Kevin Durant in response to a finals loss. Like, what?
Yeah.
And so I remember I tried to post a couple of them on Twitter. I think one of them was under his replies, just saying like, "Hey, he was asked about Draymond, about Kevin. It wasn't just like he decided to name Kevin."
Yeah.
And he took notice of that. And I think that's kind of one of the things that I've learned is that like I think the context of what someone says is very important. Another example is like I think when James Harden and Joel Embiid came to play the Clippers a couple of years ago, Ty Lue mentioned a comment about like how he said something in his long-winded answer about how like they're top 10 in points because they're so hard to defend and they get to the free throw line a lot. That's how much like free throws are a part of their game. They draw fouls, they score. It's a big part of it. And so like somewhere in his quote was like, "Well, they're not top 10 in scoring if they don't shoot free throws. If you take out free throws, they're not top 10 in scoring." And so I think Joel saw that and went off for like 40 that game. It was like 30, I think it was like mid 30s or 40. And I remember at one point he told Ty like, "I saw what you said about me, huh? I'm not top 10 without free throws, huh?" Wow. And Ty was like, "What are you talking about?" And so that was like another example of something that was kind of taken out of context. Yeah. It was in the right context. I think it makes sense. Yeah, Joel and James without free throws, that's how big free throws are part of their game. They go to the free throw line a lot. And so it just shows how disciplined you have to be in not fouling and stuff like that. It's hard. And Joel was not happy about that. He was, and it took Ty after the game until he understood why that happened. I guess someone like actually just tweeted out a specific part of that quote.
Yeah.
And Joel saw that before the game and was not happy about it. So it's just, I think it's certain things that were like, you have to take things within a certain, you have to give the proper context for everything. You can't just pick a line out and post it. There's only so much you can do in 280 characters. And now Twitter has added the kind of the blue feature where you can add more text, but just being as transparent as possible and as much context as possible.
Yeah.
So that like, and that's why I do videos as well, because you can listen to the whole video.
Sure.
You can listen to the inflection of my question, the inflection of their answer.
You're giving the full thing, you know.
Yeah. So I have the quote, and they can also decide for themselves
That's awesome.
what it is. So
That's genuine. Would you say like not having full context and how people can just cut it up in the way they want it? Would you say that that's like a form of defamation in a way?
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I think the NBA is an entertainment industry at the end of the
Mhm.
day, and everyone's kind of trying to just collect their bread where they can.
Yeah.
I think we're all trying to. I just think there's, at least from our position, there's a certain level of integrity you should maintain when doing so. There are times when it's unavoidable. Like,
Mhm.
I had to ask Paul George about where his contract extension talks stood just before the playoffs, because that was the only time they made him available.
Mhm.
And he walked out on that. He wasn't really happy with that question. But it's something that I had to do in that situation. And the next day I told him, hey, look, timing wasn't great. I apologize for the timing, but it's something that we personally just had to get out of the way before the playoffs started. And lo and behold, it's a good thing we did ask, because he's not here anymore.
From what it seems, you are a high character, full context reporter.
I try to be. I try to be.
And it seems
It's hard to do, but I try to be.
That's
the
awesome.
direction that media is going, where it's been and where it's going, it's trending toward these sound bites and these snippets and
Yeah.
these, so it's
I don't think that's all bad. I just think as long as you're given the proper context around it, you can't just pull a certain quote out of someone and say, "Oh, wow, he said this and that." You're gonna
yes.
rile up a fan base, and then
Yeah.
I think that's why you saw players kind of start their own podcast wave, is because
Yeah.
some of what they said wasn't put within the right context, and they were
Yeah.
just like, "All right, well, let me just do it on my own," and
No,
that way everyone will certainly know
Right.
how I feel.
you mentioned the Draymond thing. You had video of that him giving you credit for putting full context out there in the
Yeah.
finals, right? That video did really well. It got millions of views, over 100,000 likes on Instagram, big video. Was that your most viral moment as a reporter, or was there another moment that was even bigger for you?
There were certainly moments that happened throughout. Like I remember back when Doc was here, it was the first Kawhi PG year. Um, Kawhi was resting back to backs.
Yeah.
So we were like kind of like schedule watching to see when they could string together 5 to 6 games. And before the game, I was like, okay, we have 30 days without a back to back. So I was like, all right, hey Doc, you guys have 30 days without a back to back. Do you think this is a good time for you guys to build some consistency and some rhythm? And he goes, wow, I'm so proud of the studying that you're doing. He's like, do you go out? In front of the whole press conference, and everyone just starts laughing, and I was like, I just got cooked. Yeah, I just video that out
You
there. You can
cooked by
find it.
Doc.
Yeah, you can find that video.
That was your welcome to the NBA moment, huh?
Actually, there was one before that, but
God dang.
yeah, that was a fun little moment we had there. I mean, the Draymond one was obviously unexpected, because like Draymond, I think at that time he still does, but he was kind of like calling people out who mess with him. Like I think the 2 games later he called out Jake Fisher for something.
Yeah.
So like I noticed him looking down on the video, and then when he started the answer with nothing related to the question I had. He goes, "I see your name," and I was like, "Oh shit, what did I do? What did I say?" Like
Your heart.
he's about, dude, I froze. I was like, "Oh my god, he's about to roast or cook me or something." I'm like, "What did I say?"
In your
Bro,
first NBA finals.
in those like 5 seconds while he's answering, I'm going back. I was like, "What did I tweet in the last 24 hours? What did I say about him? What did I this that?" And then he actually started answering. I was like, "Oh, this is positive. Oh,
No.
okay."
Oh, wait.
So it was good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did appreciate him for that. And then a lot of people were just like, "Oh, you're the Draymond guy, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess."
Oh shit. Wow.
Everyone started calling me new media after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't know what other fun moments there are. I mean, the first time I remember I went to practices for a while, like maybe for about a month, before I could even get into a game. And I never asked any questions. I just watched, just observed how people do it, how the reporters really conduct their work, how they, conversate and everything. And one of the practices, it was like me and 2 other people. And Doc showed up, and those 2 people asked like 5 questions, and it was like 2 minutes. It was quick answers. And he turned to me, he goes, "You gonna fucking ask anything, or you're just gonna stand there?" I was just like a month and a half, 2 months in. I'm still kind of learning the way of things. And I was like, "Oh, okay." Just came up with something on the fly, and it was good. And he was like, "See, you're good. You should ask more."
Oh.
And then I asked Chris Paul a question right after, and it didn't really make sense. And and they had to come back to me. I struggled wording it, so I was humbled real quick.
9 years of learning how to ask, learning how to cover, learning how to provide context and build relationships, and not fuck up when in a very difficult to not fuck up situations sometimes. It's very easy to ask people the wrong question. It's really easy to offend somebody or do something the wrong way in this world. So in half of those years, 5 years ago, is when the Clippers made, this was years after the Donald Sterling stuff. This is when they were entering a new era under the Ballmer era, right? The trade happened, right? The trade happened. They got Kawhi. They got Paul George in one day. Suddenly, you're stealing superstars from the Lakers. You're suddenly, becoming a contender, a team with expectations, right? And then we kind of seen how the last 5 years have played out, right? Pretty tragic. One of the most expensive teams in the NBA, with everything that you could have ever asked for roster wise going into some of these seasons, and the reoccurring theme was the injury stuff, and it was crazy because this last season was like there was finally there was some positive flow, right? There was there's a point there there was a point where the Clippers were humming. They were making the Russ Harden thing work. Kawhi was playing games, even back to backs. Paul George was healthy, right, after missing last year's playoff run. And then you get to the playoffs and you lose Kawhi again. And now going into this season without Paul George and without Russ, Kawhi has another operation on his knee. So my question is, you've been around these locker rooms for years now. You've seen people kind of come in and out of this. What is today, and what you've noticed over time where we stand today, the vibe with Kawhi in that locker room, the people around him, the optimism or lack of, where do the Clippers feel they are now with their main superstar and where he is with his health?
I think it's just really just a trend of bad luck, honestly. Like you can't. I don't think you can. I don't think you can script any of this even. Like it's just unfortunate luck. It's in a way similar to a Brandon Roy or a Derrick Rose, where a guy just for whatever reason just can't put together a couple seasons. I mean, Kawhi played 68 games last year. It was still really good.
Yep.
These guys play so many games. They do so much that I think swelling of any kind is expected over a course of a season. Some is manageable, and you just kind of deal with it.
Yeah.
Maybe give him a game or two off, and um, move on. And he come back healthy. The meniscus tears in that knee 2 years later. In game one of the playoffs, he put up back to back 30-point games and ripped the ball from KD and dunked it on him the other day. On the other end, it was just he looked good. He looked incredible. As much as you want to say these guys are injury prone, a lot of it is just unfortunate luck.
Yeah.
Whether it's Kevin Durant, for example, a lot of people make fun of clown on him for not being healthy or being injury prone. But if you look at some of his the MCL sprains he had, someone fell into his knee
Yeah.
multiple times.
Yeah.
How am I really supposed to avoid that? There's nothing you can do about those, and so
Right.
Is that the vibe though in the locker room? Where...
Yeah, I think he's always been positive. Team's always been positive about him.
Yeah.
I think you definitely there's a sense of fatigue sometimes with the injuries because you're good enough to compete. It's just that you're just not lucky enough to be healthy at this time.
Yeah.
But I think it's optimistic. I mean they have a much more comprised team around the stars this time, where it's not just 3 stars. It's 2 stars and a lot of veteran guys around them.
You mentioned optimism. Clippers still have it. They believe in the talent and the ability of Kawhi once they're able to get him on the court and stay on the court. The Clippers also might have the most optimistic man in the NBA in Steve Ballmer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen somebody
as optimistic.
More billionaires should be that optimistic, I feel.
He's super enthusiastic, and it's not there's no coffee in that. There's no caffeine or anything
That's
inducing
straight
that. He's
sober energy.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when they announced the 2026 All-Star Game was going to be at Intuit Dome. Adam Silver came and he spoke, and I asked him it's been almost a decade. What have you made of Steve? And he's like, man, I thought that energy was made up or something. It was faker. It's not. He's like, I sat next to a game, and I thought 5 minutes in, he's like, I don't know if I should be next to this guy. He's like a legit fan. I'm the commissioner of the NBA. So yeah, I mean, it's real raw enthusiasm. I think he just wants to put out a winner and want to see a team win. I mean, he went out and they built that into a dome. I forgot how many billions. Was it 2 billion? Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I've been around that arena and briefly in some areas, and it just looks incredible. it's more than commendable because in LA, all you think about is the Lakers for the most part. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think like we've talked about before, like it's hard to look at the Clippers' history beyond like 10 years, like the last 10 years, because like that's when Steve took over. That's when they had an owner really committed to winning. Whereas I don't know how much that commitment was there before that. But
Yeah.
Would you say like the Clippers culture is changing, or at least trending in a
from what
different way?
aspect?
I don't know, just maybe the feel and the energy, and it's probably a little bit more refreshing now. I feel like, and the Intuit Dome is definitely a big part of it. I think.
I mean, it remains to be seen. I think their culture definitely has changed over the last couple of years. They're always just like a hard playing, team, and I think Steve himself has built a good culture of like this being an organization that you want to go to.
Mm,
Um, they take care of you top to bottom. I mean, I think players always have nothing but positive things to say about the way they're handled here. Ty Lue the other day joked, "I can finally leave my shoes at my locker and not have to take them with me," which is like you would think is like a minor thing, but in a place that like you have your own, you kind of like work shoes, for example. It's small minor thing.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but having your own arena, it's unique, and it's going to be able to build their culture even more. They have the wall that they're going to have with all Clipper fans.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see it in action next
Heck
month
yeah.
for sure.
You think Ballmer is kind of like the next Jerry Buss?
Mm. Uh, I mean, to be fair, like Jerry Buss, when he took over the Lakers, his first thing was drafting Magic Johnson, and Steve Ballmer he came in and he had the good Lob City era a little bit, the tail end of it really, and then he obviously acquired Kawhi and Paul George. So I mean, in terms of making a splash, I think he definitely has the same level of innovative thinking.
His splash was getting into a dome done. I think that
Yeah,
was a
Mm,
big one.
yeah.
Like Kawhi and PG are one thing, but like everyone was saying this team should move to Seattle, move to San Diego, this and that, and like he was like, no, we're gonna stay in the LA market. This is a great market, and we're gonna not take Laker fans away. We're just gonna build our own unique fan base.
that's ballsy.
I think they renovated like over 300 courts around LA, parks and courts
Yes,
in
yeah,
LA.
yeah. You see it everywhere.
You see the Clippers logo on
Everywhere,
those.
yeah.
They made a couple community centers around in like East LA. So
Mm.
He's a builder. He's building this fan base. He built a $2 billion stadium. You've been in that stadium. You were there actually with the construction hat, seeing it, in some of those
yeah,
like early stages. They built a 40,000 acre double facing screen above the entire thing. Have you seen it? Have you seen that thing in action? Does it
the
look?
Halo board. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's called the Halo board. Yeah, it's I wasn't able to see it in action yet. I was able to see videos of it, and I saw the frame of it. No, it looks incredible. I mean, any stat you want is going to be up there
Wow.
as a fan, and it's
Yeah.
gonna any angle you sit at is going to have the stat that you want too. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's just like one giant round Halo board going around the arena. I'm excited to see everything, honestly, in that arena. Like
Yeah.
the court. I think the court's going to look really dope. They have the new logos and the new jerseys and
Yeah. Those are
everything.
clean.
So,
Those are clean.
They're clean.
They're clean. Yeah.
yeah, so like they've really just renovated everything, and kind of redone everything from a branding perspective.
That's awesome.
So it's gonna look really dope. I'm honestly excited to see. Like, there's only so much you can see of an arena like that before you need to see it in person.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I remember we were there for the groundbreaking. They had the shovels and broke ground on the arena.
Hmm.
And a few months later, we saw like the outside. We were walking through the garage, and they lifted up the final beam, and kind of screwed it on or whatever they do,
Hmm.
and we all signed it. A bunch of people signed it. I was one of them who signed it, and so I don't think you can see it from the inside. I have to check actually. I haven't been inside there to see, but throughout the points of construction, you could look up and see that signed beam. It's stuck out from all the other ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
They specifically chose that beam to be the last one.
I mean, I think it was just the final beam. So they
Oh,
had an
jeez.
event there. A bunch of people went up and signed it. Steve signed it. The players signed it. I signed it.
That's sick.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a photo of it somewhere.
You're a part of it.
Yeah. So it's my signature somewhere up there
That's
in the
crazy.
Intuit Dome.
There you
It's
go.
cool.
You mentioned the wall. Now, the wall has had some controversy as well as some hype, right? A lot of people have been talking a lot about, a lot of the tech that Ballmer has put in that wall. A lot of people have been talking about some of the incentives that he's trying to install in that wall. Can you just kind of briefly explain the idea, the concept, the intention with the wall, and kind of how you feel it is in bringing this to like an NBA arena?
Okay, we live in LA, right? Where are you from?
Cleveland.
Where are you from?
Boston.
I'm not from here either. I'm from Israel. LA's a transplant city. LA's a transplant city.
Yeah.
Everyone comes to this city. So I think this is designed to um, really just bring in Clipper fans where you can buy season tickets, but you won't make a handful of them. You'll sell them, and you probably might sell them to like opposing teams fans. So this is just designed to kind of prevent that. This is designed to be a wall next to the opponent's bench that's going to be all Clipper fans, and they're going to need to be loud and proud, and get in the opponent's head pretty much.
Mm.
I think an interesting design. One of the things they have there is like I think after the first two rows, so like row 3 to 40, is a first come first serve. There's like a first come first serve package. So like you buy a package for like 41 games or whatever, um, and I think if you arrive sooner, you get the better seat. You could sit as close as row 3 for like one of them, and if you arrive later, closer to game time, you probably sit up closer to like row 40.
So this is Steve Ballmer's way of differentiating the diehards with the casuals.
Yes, and none of these tickets can be sold to like other fans. I think there's like a special app you have to use to sell it, and like you have to be a verified Clipper fan to do it. So like,
What does that mean? Verified Clipper.
so they have a way. I don't know what the specifics were. They have. I think it's like you have to have attended a couple games, or have a jersey, or be seen, have a social media post about it. I don't know what the specifics are of it, but like, it's designed to allow diehards to go to games. I think that one is like you got to be up on your feet, you got to be cheering.
Yeah, you gotta be loud.
They have like monitors for like how loud you are or something like that, or if you're sitting or
Yeah.
standing. It's a little hardcore, a little too hardcore.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, if you're gonna buy tickets in the diehard section, you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you better come prepared.
Yeah, some people are kind of creeped out by it, but other people think it's supposed to foster authenticity. So it's like,
If you want home fans, I think you need to do something on that level to get them in. I mean, again, that Niners Rams game was like 90% red.
Yeah. That's wild.
And so I think you do want to, on some level, get your own fans in the building.
what happens if
So
they don't fill up the wall? Then what?
it's a good question. I don't know.
Still new.
I
Still
think
early.
everything here is kind of in its infancy, so we don't really know what will happen. I don't know if they'll sell out these first couple. I'm assuming they'll be selling out the first couple games,
Probably. Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't know for now. I really don't. Everything's kind of new here.
Be interesting to see though.
Yeah. I mean, it's new, right? I mean, people have been doing basketball arenas for decades, and it's just like
Our seats, I hate our seats.
the media seats.
So we used to be like, from what I've seen,
Right
we,
behind the bu-
we
right
used to
behind
be
the back.
we used to be like row 3, right behind the like on court side.
Yeah.
And they moved us up to like 25, 30 rows back in
Holy
like the
shit.
corner. So like it's like ground level. So essentially, I think when you walk like into the arena, instead of going down all the way to your seats, you're like on ground level. So like you won't be able to hear the players as much. You won't be able to kind of take in the interactions. A lot of the sound kind of goes all towards the center, so it won't sound as loud. So I don't know. I'm a little iffy about those. Not sure how that will be.
Yeah, you see the potential, but you want to see it before you could say much about it.
I'm not sure how the media seats will be better.
Mhm.
Like I think if we were row 3, I mean that's incredible. I don't think you can beat that.
Right.
So sitting 20 row, I remember you used to be able to hear so many different conversations being had, and I think Luca one time like crossed up someone and yelled talk shit to someone baseline, and it was like right at us, and it was incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of them was, oh yeah, so he like crossed up the backup center and he goes, he can't fucking guard me. And like that's stuff that's like fun to see, fun to be a part of.
Well, now the first come first serve wall fans are gonna be able to see it. So that's kind of
yeah,
cool.
but us media folks gotta hightail it out of here.
Nah.
Do you think that the attendance in these games is going to be about the same, better, or less than what we saw in Staples? It is in Inglewood. It's a different area.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, on one hand, it is closer to LAX, so if you have I don't know, maybe people coming in from around California who
Yeah,
want to
it's
watch
right
the
next
game.
to
I
the
don't know.
airport. Yeah, it's true.
It's much closer to LAX. I think it's like a 5-minute drive to LAX. 5-10 minute drive,
Wow.
not that far. If you look at, I think if you look at the amount of like diehard Clipper fans, like I don't know how many there are in LA. Like guys, people are really committed. Now I think all that also goes with affordability. If you can't feel like you can afford it, you probably will hang back.
Mhm.
It all lands on Kawhi's health. Can that guy lead this team back to a place he's been, the NBA Finals? Can he lead them on a season where people start believing and showing up to the new dome that way? Speaking of the NBA Finals, Tomer, in your lifetime, you've been to hundreds, if not over 1,000 NBA games. In
Yeah.
2022, you went to your first NBA Finals game. You covered it, and you've covered the last three. So I want to ask yourself, when you walked into Golden State, game one of those 2022 NBA Finals, what was immediately, compared to every other game you've ever witnessed in your life, the biggest difference you saw when you walk into an NBA Finals game?
Honestly, it's the amount of media, the amount of international media, especially that comes in. Like you have people from France, Australia, Germany, every country, Italy, like they're coming in from everywhere. All the South American countries. Um, everyone's coming in to cover something. I think usually when you cover a game, it's probably like 60 media members.
Mhm.
That includes photographers or something like that. Those finals games, you're like lining up to get your bag checked. It's a ton of people.
Wow.
You got to get in crowded elevators and like Golden State. I've never been to Golden State, so like they have like a little wall for media, and they had to make a lot of makeshift they had to build them up all the way up to the top. So like I was sitting next to like one of the scores, a score monitor or something like that, like this close essentially
In the top of the arena.
when the actual when the actual seat is like another 15 20 feet down there,
Yeah.
but they had to make those up because they had so many media. So
Wow.
Damn.
no, I think each finals game is probably like 400 media members.
This was the new arena too, right?
This is a Chase Center, yeah.
They finished
Yeah.
the Chase Center, and then they had to construct on it even further when they went to the finals.
So the thing is, every arena does that. It's not specific to Chase Center. So like, for example, in Miami, they took up two sections of an arena, and they would build tables out. And so like you're sitting in the fan seat, but you're on a makeshift table that's been created for you with power outlets and stuff like that.
Mm.
Denver did something similar. In the fan section. So like all those happen everywhere. Where were we? Boston, I will say, is the only one that we haven't had to do that because they have like a lower bowl media section. They have on top of the nosebleeds a section, a whole round section for fans.
Yeah.
So like I remember I saw like Festus Ezeli over there, 2022. He was part of their front office or something. Nancy Lieberman was there. Like there was a bunch of other people. You saw all kinds of media members there. So, honestly, that's one of the first things you see. It's just the enormous amount of people that are suddenly covering a game.
Yeah.
You're just not used to that. And so,
Oh,
I mean, so San Francisco was I actually expected them to be louder. They weren't as loud as I thought they would be in Chase Center. Boston's was fucking
Oh.
insane.
Oh yeah.
TD Garden fans
They're
they might
nuts.
just all be coked out. It's insane.
No.
They are insane. Like an hour and a half before tip off, you get like a "Let's Go Celtics" chant. Like it was like Porzingis, for example, this past year. I don't know how this started, but he had like this WWE thing where he came back from an injury and everyone cheered him on. And from then on, every time he came out on the court, he received a deafening ovation. It was insane in there.
Wow.
I had to have like earplugs in at some point because it was so loud in there.
Wow.
And so like in 22, Warriors fans were crazy. Not as crazy as Celtics fans. They were still good. There's some big moments like Jordan Poole's half court buzzer beater was insane.
Yeah.
Being in the arena for Steph's game 4 against Boston when Boston was up 2-1, he had 40, I think he had 44, something like that, 43. Boston 100% should have won that, and watching that crowd just be completely deflated out of nowhere, just quiet, was incredible. No, and then I've never traveled like that, so it's like that one I believe was during COVID, the tail end of COVID, but the NBA still had restrictions, so like I was only allowed to be on Zoom during games, on game days, but during practice days I was allowed downstairs. They kind of tried to separate it so it wasn't a lot of people. It wasn't that bad just going to San Francisco for 4 days. It wasn't that bad going to Boston, but it was Boston, then San Francisco, then Boston, then back to LA when they ended that series.
Yeah.
Over like a week. With that, which was like exhausting for me.
Yeah.
It was like coast to coast 4 times
That's
over
crazy.
like a 4 or 5 day span.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but like no, it was that final week though,
Yeah.
where it was like game 4 in Boston, game 5 in San Francisco, game 6, and then back home. Where like I'm talking to Nish like, all right, the series might end now. Do we want to book this flight? Like it's just that type of stuff is just like factors into it. It's and then you want to get your workout in a timely manner, get it out before, most of the other people do.
It's a grind.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
You walked in all these different game ones. You traveled for the game threes and back and forth for the 5, 6, 7s. You saw 3 final buzzers to 3 NBA seasons, right? You saw 3 champions won. Do you have any vivid memories of any of them? Your first, the most hyped ones? Like what when it was all rushing into you? What do you
Oh,
remember?
all of them stick out. All the final buzzers stick out. I mean, the first one, you had Steph going like this, pointing to his ring, ring me. That one though was more of it was a bigger gap, so you felt like, all right, the Warriors have this, they have this. Um, so that one was very memorable. I remember it sucks that I couldn't be in person. It was only on Zoom
Yeah.
for that one, but no, that was incredible. Just to watch. Sorry, but the fans just be completely deflated because like Boston really should have had that series. I believe Boston was a better team that series. They should have won that series in
They were up
22.
2-1. They lost that game.
But they were just a better team. They were outright the better team in my opinion. And Steph just Stepped. And so yeah, I mean that was incredible to watch. 23. So that was Denver, Miami. Um, I mean, so that game 5, that was a 5-game series, but that was a very, very competitive 5-game series. It felt like to me. The first game was close. Miami just didn't have enough. Game 2, they somehow win in Denver. 3 and 4, they just didn't have enough. They took the lead. I think Jimmy Butler like gave them the lead in the fourth quarter. They just ran out of gas. And then I remember in game 5, it was just obviously Denver had never won before.
Yeah.
So I just remember when it became reality when one of the free throws was missed. I think KCP just threw the ball up. All you can't even see the court. All you see is confetti every freaking where.
Wow.
In the air everywhere, from above and from below and from above.
Yeah.
It was all you could see was confetti. That's all you could see for a good like 2 minutes.
Wow.
And then like I remember the in-arena announcer saying like, "Yeah, we did it." No, he was hype. He's like the he's been Denver's PA guy for a while. Yeah, it was that was an incredible scene. I remember going downstairs and Reggie Jackson dapped me up after. He was like super cool. I talked to DJ after too. Yeah, Reggie let me hold the trophy after.
Holy
Like
shit.
there's that photo of me holding the championship trophy. So like if you zoom in on that and look at who's taking the photo, it's Reggie Jackson.
Reggie took the photo for you?
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
So I was just there and he goes and I congratulated him. We were talking. I worked on a story with him and then he was like, "Hey, do you want to hold the trophy?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" And he goes, "Hey, you want me to take a photo of just you and the trophy?" I was like, sure, I guess. I'm not gonna say no. So he just takes a photo, which is really cool. So shout out Reggie for that. That was a very dope guy. Dope guy to cover. Always super nice with us. Anytime I see him, we chat. He's super cool.
I used to see him have like dance offs with the Condor.
Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fun guy. He's a really cool dude. And yeah. So that was 23. That was obviously insane. There was just champagne everywhere. A lot of the players also were like kind of like as a fun little mess around with the media. They just like pop champagne and just sprayed on all of us.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So like my shirt, that red shirt I have, I had to bag it up from all my other clothes because it smelled so much like champagne and cigars.
Wow.
It smells so bad. I had to get it dry cleaned right after. It was
Did they give you guys the goggles?
no, that was only for the players.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I wish, but that was only for the
You
players.
guys just
I wouldn't have washed that shirt. That's history all over that.
One of my favorite shirts though. Nah, but I mean that photo's enough. It was, yeah. And
You've
then
been to 3 finals. That
Yeah.
Reggie Jackson moment was one of the biggest. Was that your biggest memorable moment of covering the NBA Finals? And were there other moments in those locker rooms that you kind of remember, can't forget about?
I mean the Draymond finals thing was that moment he gave me was pretty cool. Other than that, I don't know if any one moment really sticks. I'm trying to think about it. We got a notice saying you have to get in the media bus. If you get an Uber, be very careful. Look around. They were like, the city's going crazy right now. Like, be super careful with how you get back.
Yeah.
And like our bus was thankfully we had like an easy ride, but streets were flooded with fans around TD. It was crazy. It was
Yeah.
crazy. Stories I don't remember
Did you
now.
go out like at night after these things or?
So by the time we were done, it wasn't anything too much we could do. Like we went out, they had some media, dinners after. So we got together there with a bunch of random media people and it's just very time consuming. It's obviously fun and grateful to be able to do it, but I think it's the amount of time it takes up to just do everything is very underrated.
I'm sure a lot of players feel that way. I'm sure a lot of players who like win a championship and it all goes really fast and they don't get a chance to kind of like see it all until
Yep.
they, get to sit down and relax and think about it.
I think it was O'Shea Brissett who in the Celtics locker room just decided to pop a bottle and just spray everyone. Everyone, like, doesn't matter who. I remember they had like two giant coolers and everything you possibly want was there. Beer, like some high noons, anything you want was there. Any freaking thing you thought of. Champagne, wine, rosé, all of it was in there. Anything you wanted. Um,
Yeah, man. When you started covering the Clippers, did you ever one day think that you'd be like covering the NBA Finals? And when you got done with like say your first finals or even your third, like did you like kind of like have that post finals run reflection like a lot of players do, just realizing kind of what you had gone through?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, you definitely do that. The flight back is a big part of that.
Mm,
Especially from so two of the three finals have ended in Boston that I've been in.
right.
So it's a long flight back home.
Yeah.
God.
Um, there's a lot of things that I just can't forget. I remember Michael Malone dancing with Nikola Jokic's brother. It's like I'll never forget that.
Wow.
I remember I walked up to Nikola Jokic's brother and I wanted to ask him a question, like just as a well, didn't speak English great, but I wanted to see if I could ask him a question. And he took my phone and just started recording a selfie video, and I was like, okay, cool. And he gave me the phone back and he went about his way, and I was like, all right, that's something, I guess. um,
That's a normal occurrence in Serbia, by the way. That just happens there. Yeah.
yeah. So like, there's all sorts of like different small things. It's not a major thing, but it's a fun little like memory.
Yeah.
That you just reflect on the way back, but then really never forget.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah, always in the back of your mind.
Mm. I want you to, last thing, I would like you to rank your three finals experiences, just from experiences, like what overall, like the overall coverage and what you saw from fans and what you saw as in terms of witnessing history and like what were, if you had to remember the memories of these finals, what would be the top memories, the second and the third? Maybe start with the third.
Third ranked finals, I guess if you could say, was probably the 22 finals.
Okay.
Because that was I was my first one. I didn't know a lot of like the national people or like the NBA people like
Hmm.
that. So it was really just, me showing up. And it was also the COVID era, so it was Zoom and in person. So it was like
Yeah.
it was tough to really get to know people, develop a relationship, get them to get to know you and all that. So that would probably be like my third ranked one, but still incredible. I think my second ranked one might have to be this past one in 24. I really enjoyed going to Dallas and especially Boston. Boston was a very beautiful city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was pissed that one of the bakeries that I was at in 22 no longer had the biscuit sandwich that I wanted. They didn't carry it anymore. And so I went in 24 when I went, I was like, first thing I'm going to get is a sandwich. And I go and they don't have it on the menu anymore. And I was like, fuck,
Wow.
bro.
Yeah.
Biscuit
Um,
sandwich.
yeah. So, and then my number one would probably be the 23 finals. One, because um, Reggie was obviously there, so getting to see someone you worked with and covered win was great.
Hmm.
Obviously, and he's just a great guy too, so that makes it even better. But we got to play basketball um, in a couple of the spots there. So in Denver, we played at a park that one of the broadcasters set up for us. It was indoors, and you really got to feel the altitude. You got to learn what that mile high altitude is.
Wow.
It's tough to play up there. All of us within maybe four up and downs were just like,
Yeah.
where's the oxygen in this
Jeez.
place?
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was fun. And then we went to Miami. I'm pissed because I didn't get to experience Miami the way I wanted to. It was raining every day we were in Miami, so that was kind of a bummer. But the flip side of that is we went to play basketball there. A bunch, couple of us media people, some like the content people, and then freaking I think Chris Miles, I think is his name. He's NBA TV host. Walks in with Jamal Crawford, and I'm like, Jamal, man. I was like, you're. you're a player, man. You're not media." He goes, "I'm media. I do media now."
Yeah.
I'm like, "All right, bro." So we played with him for a bit. We played with him, and he was just trying to get guys involved. He was a great teammate, trying to get everyone involved, hyping you up. And then we had replacements, obviously. And then the team that beat us twice in a row started talking a lot of smack to Jamal Crawford's team.
Wow.
And so Jamal was like, "Okay, all right, enough of this." And I think he went on to win like 6 straight and hit a game winner. I have a video of it. He had the game winner
That's
on one of them
crazy.
and walked up to my video and was like, just hyped everyone up around. But yeah, they started talking smack to him, and he was like, "Okay, we're done here."
Yeah.
And he won 6 in a row. It was the nastiest thing
To
I've
be
seen.
fair, if we played pickup against Jamal, we beat him twice. I might be talking some
Yeah,
shit.
but he wasn't trying to score like that. He was trying to be a
Yeah.
good teammate, get everyone
Yep.
involved. He wasn't doing his little herky jerky thing. He was just trying to be a good teammate. And the other guys just started talking a little smack, and he was like, he didn't even say anything. You could just see he was like,
Yeah. He's definitely not gonna say anything.
You were on his team, or you just watched this happen?
no. So I was on his team. I think I just we'd played 2 games before he got there. So for me, it was like maybe 5 games. So I was just winded at that point. I was like, "All right, man, y'all do your thing."
Damn.
Wait, I mean, so basically, it's just a bunch of media people playing together.
Media, like there was some like some content people from like the Nuggets and the Heat. Like I think there was an NBA content person. The NBA TV host was there. The announcer was there, and then Jamal obviously was a guest, so he was there.
Who
So
was the one? Who was the one that was talking smack?
I
No
don't
name
know.
dropping?
I don't remember that one.
Oh.
I know. I really don't remember. Who it
Oh,
was.
okay. Okay.
I just remember it was like general celebration of
I
beating
see.
Jamal's team. I think it was, and he was just like, "All right, enough of that."
That'd be you, Diggy.
If I did it twice in a row, yeah.
I would love to guard Jamal
Yeah.
when he's taking it
Taking it,
serious.
yeah.
I would love that.
That'd be fun, man.
Yeah, no, he got in his bag, and there was
He-
just
yeah.
his mid range. I don't
He
think
just
he
can't
missed
miss.
more than 1 or 2 mid rangers, if that.
Crazy.
NBA level, huh?
Yeah, and he wasn't like going to the basket like that either. He took the high degree of difficulty shots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it probably didn't feel difficult.
Yeah, no, he was insane, and I knew him before that, so I can mess around with him when he got there. I was like, "Man, get out of here! We're not doing this, man."
Yeah.
Um,
Tomer, we might need some of those clips.
we'll see about that. We'll see.
Come
I
on,
might
man.
have the game winner,
So cool.
somewhere in here, but
Jamal Crawford, hey man, he did
Hey,
say.
man, there's a lot you got to show us. A lot of stories, a lot of photos, a lot of videos, a lot of memories you've captured in a decade of reporting, and more to come as you set on this journey to be continuing as the longest tenured Clippers beat reporter in the Intuit Dome. There's going to be more from Tomer Azarly. If you want to check him out, follow him on Twitter. He goes strong there, as well as on all socials and on ClutchPoints.com, covering the Clippers and a lot of the NBA. One of our best writers, our longest tenure reporter as well on our team. So, Tomer, it was a pleasure to have you. Thank you for sharing these stories with us, man.
no, thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Really cool, really cool.
Really cool
Thank you.
stuff, man. Guys, thanks for tuning in at the Buzzer. We'll see you on the next one.